You probably don't know what this elegant-looking box is, but it says on the front, Lost and Found. And so this is the Lost and Found box of Church of the Holy Spirit. We have a couple of jackets, a hat, a pair of gloves. There were some car keys, but as you know, Sister Mary Ann has a new car now. We were going to have a raffle, but that's all right. So the Lost and Found box, everything that basically people leave behind goes into this box. And there's so much of a, how would you say, a disposable society. People leave a jacket behind, they go get another one. Car keys left behind, they go get another one. Zacchaeus is in this box. Zacchaeus is lost. And he is the chief tax collector in Jericho. Jericho is a very influential place. First of all, it's a beautiful place, sort of like Lake Forest would be today, okay? So if he lives in Jericho and he's the chief tax collector, he is doing very, very well for himself. Zacchaeus, also being a chief tax collector, is reputed to be a crooked person. Because basically when someone who was a Jewish person working for the Roman government, he would have to take a little bit off the top for himself. Imagine that still happens. I'm sure it doesn't now. But anyway, he's reputed to be a crooked person, and he cooperates with the Roman government in order basically to steal from his own people. He belongs in this box. He's on the top of the money tree in Jericho, and there is a lot of room for corruption. However, Jesus, as he is coming along, knows exactly who Zacchaeus is. It would seemingly be very easy to overlook Zacchaeus, but Jesus sees him. And even though he is very short still, Jesus lays eyes on him and says, Zacchaeus, today I'm going to your house. Also calls him by name, which is kind of amazing. Of all the people who are milling around Jesus at the time, probably he has never seen Zacchaeus before. Maybe he's heard of him, and yet points him out and uses his name. He is called, just like the disciples were, calls Simon and Bartholomew and all of the other apostles, calls them by name and invites them to follow him. And now he is doing the very same to Zacchaeus, who would seem to be on the outside looking in. He would not be held in high regard at all by the Jewish people, but Jesus still calls him by name. And so Zacchaeus comes to faith by God's call. And even though we might say that Zacchaeus really doesn't deserve it, God still reaches out to him. Jesus reaches out to him and says, Zacchaeus, I'm coming to your house today. I am going to be with you today. And not just today, but for always. You are a son of Abraham as well, Jesus says. And so he is part of the kingdom, even though it would seem that Zacchaeus would be on the outside looking in. Still, he is called by name to be part of Jesus' people called to a hopeful message. And so what if it was us in that tree that day looking down, and Jesus calls out, Mary, Stephen, whoever, come down. Today I'm going to your house. That would be a pretty amazing thing. And I would imagine that all of us would be very, very happy to invite Jesus in. Because there are times when it seems that Jesus might be absent, when Jesus is away from us. But still, nonetheless, Jesus reaches out to each of us and calls us by name and says, I'm going to be at your house today. And not just today, but for always until the end of time. Especially when we come and celebrate this sacrament this evening. We celebrate the sacrament of the body and blood of the Lord. And so Jesus is saying to us, I am coming to you this day. I'm giving you my presence, my body and blood, so that you can go on your pilgrim way and continue to live my message in your lives. And so Jesus calls us by name, just as he called Samuel, Samuel, or even Martha, Martha. Still, Jesus calls us all by name, calls us to be his followers. And so maybe we shouldn't have the lost and found. Maybe this evening we can celebrate something a little different. We are found. Sometimes we get lost. Sometimes we veer off the path. Sometimes we go to places that we ought not. But the Lord is always ready to say, today I am coming to your house. You are not lost. You are found. You will always be found. Why? Because the Lord is watching over each and every one of us. And though sometimes it may seem that he's far away or absent from us, the Lord is always ready to call us by name and say, I am with you for always. You are always a person who is to be found.